I'm doing my PhD at the moment, but for 28 years I lived in Japan, and that's where I was teaching. Actually, I did my first undergraduate degree in Japan as well, way back when I was 18. And my English classes, there were only Japanese nationals in there. They were wanting to interact with people in other countries using the English that I was teaching them. So the logical road to go down was virtual exchange when the internet started to come out. And
in 2004, so you've been doing
yes,
virtual exchange projects for a long time. I see it's called International Virtual Exchange Project, and I understand you do it with Japan and many other countries. So would you like to just outline your International Virtual Exchange Project and what it entails? Just give us some background to this project.
right. Yeah, so 2004, that was when I was like, okay, the internet is now stable enough. It's starting to really, you don't have to be super rich to access it. And I sent out an email to, I think it was a Yahoo group of international teachers, and I got a few nibbles. And one in particular was Juan Pablo, so who will more than likely watch this video at some stage. Juan Pablo, hi. He emailed me, and we started an exchange between my class in Japan and his class in Popoyan in Colombia. And it was brilliant. It was just so incredible that students were using English to interact and find out about cultures that they had very little idea about. True, there was a lot of superficial exchanges. Even though we were at tertiary level, we were studying a language. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. We're teaching that language is really important. And we really enjoyed doing it. We also found out a lot about the other cultures. As it developed in 2015, I got some funding from the Japanese government because they saw what I was doing and they said, can you expand it? And we did. In 2015, we had 4 countries and about 800 students involved. And then it's just grown from there. A lot of people have seen it and said, this is pretty interesting. Last year we had 10,000 students from, I think it was 22 countries involved, in mainly English as lingua franca exchanges. Yeah.
How is that structured, Eric? I mean, you're talking very big numbers here. So how many teachers do you have on board? How do you manage those large numbers?
I have a team. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Adam Jenkins, Fulia Tunche from Turkey. Adam's based in Japan. A couple of other teachers based in Japan, Andy Johnson, Matt Cotter. And they're just wonderful. We've got our platform is Moodle, but we've developed it in such a way that a lot of people say this is Moodle, and they don't really understand that it is Moodle. We've got quite a few add-ins that help teachers access their students' data in very clear-cut ways. Yeah, last year.
And in terms of content, then, Eric, what sort of topics are the students exchanging about? What are they talking about?
Well, that's really up to the teachers. Yeah, in the last exchange, we had more than 200 teachers involved. Some teachers said they wanted their students focusing on, teacher education, and we had a forum set up for the teacher educators involved. And there were around about 200 of them from, I think it was 6 different countries, shared ideas on how they teach English to primary education students. That was one. Secondary and tertiary, not so much tertiary, but yeah, the pre-service teaching forum was really fascinating to see. And the ideas exchanged really helped help those students out. We have a forum where it's very video-based, audio-video. So students are practicing speaking. And that is, we have things like a day in our life. One of the ones that we saw was a day in the life of a Mexican teacher. And it was really, really interesting to see.
Mm, mm, mm.
So basically, if a teacher says, I want to do a project on this, the teacher forum is there, and teachers can get involved and say, well, let's do it. So the sky's the limit. There are open forums where all, 4,000-5,000 students can interact. They can do a search of a topic that they're interested in, find that information, and then start participating in it. They can sift through and find the most common forums or the least replied to forums. There's lots of different options open to all the different students. We've also got real-time exchanges at least once a week. We had on one of those some 200 students from 7 countries participate.
And
We had
how many
students wake.
teachers manage that, though? Sorry to interrupt. How many teachers would manage 200? How do you manage such large numbers on a Zoom call, for example?
Basically, we set up, okay, this week we're going to be talking about this, and this, so that students can prepare. Then the students come online. We quickly break them into groups. We bring them back. We get a little bit of feedback. Then we break them out into breakout rooms again. The focus is on the students interacting. So
But presumably, Eric, there must be, I mean, it's not just with Japan, there are dozens of countries involved. And presumably there are different levels of linguistic competency in this. So do you sift through that and try to match them up? How does that work when there's different levels of language ability in the group?
Well, when we've got the Zoom breakout rooms set up, we go, okay, have a quick check how many there are. Then we go, okay, breakout rooms 1 through to 10. These are for the beginner levels, then 10 through to 15 for intermediate, and usually there's not that many in advanced, so we might have 1 or 2. Right. And then we say, well, here you go, you join the group that you feel that you're confident in. Right. And we've had some, never had major problems. We get a lot of positive feedback from students about this. Teachers tell their students go and do this, and then they report back the next day.
Right.
And it's really just a platform that is there for students to get involved in.
And what are the topics? What have you noticed? What comes out of it that they particularly enjoy about this type of virtual exchange, the students?
Obviously, you touched on it there before, that there are a variety of different levels of English competency who are students who participate in this. So the biggest one that I see is the beginner level students. They'll come in and they'll think, my English is not good enough to interact with someone in another country. And they'll maybe put an audio clip in, and someone will reply to it. And just in that action of replying, you get this incredible feeling of, wow, this person actually understood my English. and
so their
then it's like
builds then immediately.
Yes. And even at the very, very basic level of what food do you like, for example, you see this amazing spark that comes. The students that I was teaching in Japan, it's incredible. It really is. It is evolving. The content in the past was fixed, but what we found was teachers wanted to drive the content, students wanted to drive the content. So we've opened it up, and let's make this organic. Let's get teachers saying, we want this, we want this, we want this. And that's what's been driving it of late.
How do you keep up the motivation of the students? You say it's student driven, but presumably there's teachers behind the scenes there kind of pushing everyone on, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, obviously, teachers, we say to teachers, look, we're not going to tell you what to do, but we encourage you to assess this, because assessment obviously is a great motivator. And we ask the students to do quite a lot. So if the students are putting a lot of effort in, that should result in some kind of assessment or some feedback, or you've got to give something back to the student because the
Mm.
student is putting so much in. The last exchange, we have started supplying or giving international virtual exchange certificates to students who meet certain criteria, a certain level of engagement level, general number of words used, number of posts, number of replies, all this kind of data. And then a certificate is generated if they
Right.
attain a certain level in those areas.
I know you collaborate a lot with Japan. Can you just give us an idea of which other countries are involved in your project?
Every year it changes. Every year it changes. The ones that seem to be there all the time are obviously Japan, Colombia, Chile, Mexico, Indonesia is becoming very popular, I suppose. There are a lot of universities who are starting to participate in Indonesia, and Turkey is one of our absolute stars. Some of the students from there, my goodness me. We have students from Poland. We had some students from Georgia, Italy, Spain involved, from Europe in the past as well. Students from Djibouti, Niger have participated in the past, from Africa, Brazil, Ecuador, all these different countries. I've left out quite a few. We've got
Yes,
students
I'm
from
sure you
India
have.
joining us.
But yeah,
It's
congratulations and long may
it's
it live and grow then, Eric.
yes, yeah,
Thank
it
you very
continues to
much.
grow.